Morning, everybody, and hope you're well. Here is a major update in the matter of, the Oakland A's pursuit of a new home now in Las Vegas. And it has to do with a rather complicated issue of what's called a debt coverage ratio. Well, first of all, what's going on is that the Athletics bankers are reportedly negotiating with designers, if you will, of the bond issue. Now you would say, what's the bond issue? Let me just start from basics. There would be a bond issue that would result in the provision of $395 million to the Athletics to assist in the payment of construction for the retractable roof ballpark at Tropicana Land. And the problem is that of the amount of money that the bond issue is expected to receive from tax increment revenue based on the possessory interest tax that would be levied on the A's in the annual payments. That amount, the A's bankers want to keep a percentage of that that's greater than what's necessary to achieve what is called a 2-to-1 debt coverage ratio. In other words, for every $1 of debt cost, you want $2 of revenue. And you would say, why is that important? It's important because if that's not achieved, then the bond itself is more expensive, meaning that you run the risk of producing a bond issue that has a annual debt that's greater than the revenue produced. So in order to avoid that, you have to present a plan that shows that you have, like you would show in your bank account, right? That in this instance, you have the ability to generate 2 times the bond debt service that would be called for. And right now they do, but I don't know the specific percentage these bankers are asking for, but it has to be so significant that concern was expressed to me by my friend who is in a position to know. Okay. And my friend says it's resolvable and believes that the issue will get resolved, but I was going to leave this alone because I was aware of it for the entire day, but I didn't want to mess things up. But someone else put the information put the information out there, but in a way that is a little inaccurate. Okay, and so it has to be explained so that you can understand it, and so that's what I'm trying to do. Lay out the groundwork as to exactly what's really going on here so that you don't get the wrong idea. It's not so much not the percentage of public financing, because they're not providing a chunk of money from the general fund, okay? So that's not the idea. Basically, the way it's working is that the A's have to pay a possessory interest tax that goes to the payment of the bond issue. But the size of that amount is such that it is actually beyond the bond debt annually, which is what you want. That means you want that revenue. And the A's are turning around and saying, hey, of this percentage, we want to reclaim X amount. And the amount that they're wanting to reclaim is threatening the desired debt coverage ratio target of 2-to-1. That's the problem. So was about to go into my Google Sheets here and give you an example of my Google Sheets spreadsheet and show you exactly what's going on, so you can understand it, or at least try to. And I'm sure this will lead to other questions as well. And so I'm going to Sheets. Hold on a second. And this is what I'm doing right here, folks. I'm trying to, and I just did, as I do this, I'm actually going to the bond level debt service. Here's the language. Hey, good morning, everybody. Here's the language that I'm talking about. Okay, this is bond level debt service. Now, reality is the debt service is not level, but here it is. This is 29 million. This is for a $550 million bond issue. Now, the A's only need 395 million in proceeds, so it'd be less. Okay, so but what we have in this instance is this is what they originally were going to do, but for the purpose of what I'm talking about, it still works. So I could change it in a second. That is, as you can see, the calculated bond level debt service on $550 million bond. All right, I would have to park it into my bond debt level debt service or debt service calculator to come up with a new number. But for the purpose, and I will later, but for the purpose of this quick and dirty presentation, what's going on is that this produces a total tax increment. This part stays. All right, this is 1.2 billion. Okay, so at 550 million, this was the bond cost. Is actually a lot less now because the A's only need 395 million. All right, but what that would yield, because this is less, that means that this part, this remainder, is greater. This minus this equals this, right? So the A's are trying to retain a greater portion of this. That's really that's all it is. Okay, that's all it is. All right, so you would say, hey, Zinni, can you call up that other example regarding level debt service and you see what that looks like? And I would say, sure, give me a second. I'm calling that up right now. D debt, BT, okay. And there it is. Bingo. Open says me. You know, like open sesame, open says me. Ha ha ha. All right, so I just opened it, and there. So I'm going to park in the amount to be borrowed. 395, and 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The borrowing conditions interest rate, well, it's about 3.5%, hopefully. Years 30. Excuse me, wait a second. The years 30. I'm just typing this in. You would say, what am I doing? And I'll show you. And I'll check on level debt service there. For grins, all right. This won't take. Come on, get in there. Level debt service. Let's say, what is he doing? Hold on a second. There's not enough space to save this document. That's fine. All right. This is what I'm doing, folks. Let me show you. Hey, it's not going to fall through. So anyway, this is what I'm trying to do here is get this to check so I can get my level debt service. It's not giving me what I want to do here. So let's see here. Maybe if I do that, use the old one. I'll just use the old one. Let's change this to 395, because that new one was giving me a pill. 0, 0, 0, 0.000, right? They hit that, yeah, so there we go, okay? And so we've got all that already pre-checked. Cool, cool, all right? So there is our new level debt service, right? So we take this, okay? That's, right, and we copy it. And what is it? It is 21,476,676, right? Go over here and just pop that bad boy over here, like so. And we hit paste, and there's the 21 million, right? So then we go and we copy, all right? The kids at home, paste here, go down like that, all the way down, all right, to there, right? And then we paste, okay? Oh, forgot about that. Sometimes it likes me to use that thingy. Okay, hold on a second, close. So I'll do that. Boom, there it is, right? Okay, boom. So what does that yield us now? Let's scroll down and find out. We now have, at the end of the day, a dramatically, look at this, okay? The bond cost now is much less. It's 665 million, right? Minus the same revenue expectation here. Where does it lead? It leads almost double in terms of remaining yield of revenue, and the A's want a percentage of that, okay? And so what's going on is that in order getting a percentage of that, they're doing it the other way. They're saying, hey, look, you see all this revenue here? We want a percentage of this annually, which is going to basically lower it to a point where your ratio is hampered. And you would say, Zinni, do you have an error for that? And my response is, yes, I do. It's over here. Oops, I went too far. Sorry, excuse me. I didn't take a bridge too far though, but let me just go down a bit. There we are, okay. So, and then go down here and move over a bit. This number is looking familiar, isn't it? You see this number right down here? Where did that come from? It came from where we were, right? So this is the expected total revenue, all right? Now, take a look at this number. You would say, okay, what is that? That's the bond issue. That's the proceeds, okay? All right, so what we have here, this is that's Q57 minus P, okay? And this one was written in, so I would have to alter that one. And I should do that. This is the actual revenue. We saw that actual tax increment revenue, right? This is the expected bond cost, okay? So let's do some math here. And just, because that shouldn't be there, that's tagged in. There, but I'm holding this and I'm trying to do the calculation at the same time. So what I'll do is I'll just go back to my other calculation over here, which helped me out, all right? And go from there. And that is here. What I was going to do, and I'll do it another run because it's a little hard to do this and hold the camera at the same time. I've got one finger, all right? But basically what's going on is that the A's, to make it very simple for you, rather than kind of wading into the weeds like I like to do, the A's want a bigger percentage of this increment revenue. And that bigger percentage is such that it hampers the ability to achieve a 2-to-1 debt coverage ratio. And that's the problem, okay? So I'll come back with more detailed explanation, but the answer is it's not going to fall through, okay? But thanks for asking, and subscribe to Zennia62 and bookmark OaklandNewsNowBlog.com. That ends this broadcast.